Sweet 16. Oh, my.
Well, yes, sir, bud. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, baby. Yes, sir, baby. Yes, sir, baby.
Guys, this isn't Cinderella. It's pronounced Gonzaga. They're going to learn how to pronounce it. This is a good quality basketball team, and we're not done, all right? We're not done.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to CBS Sports' continuing coverage of the NCAA tournament. 1979 was the first year that all the teams in the tournament were given a seed. And for the first time since then, 5 teams seeded 10th or lower are in the Sweet 16, including the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Tonight, we begin in Knoxville, Tennessee, with the South Regional semifinal between the 3rd seed Red Storm of St. John's, who humbled Samford in Indiana, and the 2nd-seeded Maryland Terrapins, who advanced with convincing wins over Valparaiso and Creighton. That game is set to tip at 7:38 Eastern Time. Out west in Phoenix, the 10th seed Gonzaga Bulldogs, who upset 2nd seed Stanford to advance, will take on 6th-seeded Florida. Tip time there is 7:55. In the second set of games, a pair of perennial football powers, Ohio State and Auburn, square off on the hardwood in the South Regional semifinal. The tip is about 9:55 Eastern Time. And then Dr. Tom Davis leads his 5th-seeded Iowa Hawkeyes against top seed UConn in the West. That one is set to tip at about 10:15. I am joined, as always, by Clark Kellogg. Good to have you on this very exciting Thursday night. What do we look for?
I think I'm at a restaurant waiting for that sampler platter appetizer, because in Maryland and St. John's, what you've got is a little bit of everything. I mean, you've got skill, you've got speed, you've got defense, you've got coaching, you've got tenacity, versatility. You got all the elements you want to kick off a nice evening of outstanding basketball.
You go from right to Chef Boyardee. You're amazing. Coming up, the South Regional semifinal between 3rd seed St. John's and 2nd seed Maryland. Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery are courtside in Knoxville. For those expecting Gonzaga against Florida in the West, we'll get you to that tip at 7:55. The Sweet 16 here on CBS after this word from your local station.
Sponsored by the new Chevy Silverado, Budweiser, Conseco, and by Microsoft.
CBS Sports welcomes you to Knoxville, Tennessee, where the road to the Final Four continues with regional semifinal action in the South. In the first of 2 games here at Thompson-Boling Arena tonight, the number 2 seed Maryland takes on the 3 seed St. John's. All the top 4 seeds in the South have advanced to the Sweet 16. Later tonight, the top seed Auburn will go up against Ohio State. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough along with Bill Raftery, and it's great to have you with us. We think tempo will be the key factor tonight. Maryland would like an up-and-down game. St. John's would like to keep it just a little bit slower. And, Bill, both teams have one of the most versatile players in the country. For St. John's, Ron Artest, and for Maryland, Steve Francis.
Both teams play great defense, but it's going to be the bounce to ecstasy. And for Maryland, Steve Francis, that ability to penetrate and find people, very unselfish. The counter for St. John's Red Storm, Ron Artest, great feel for the game, the penetrating ability, the dish, a little bootsy finish. They all can catch inside. We'll see a lot of layups.
And the starting lineups for St. John's at 27-8 for the season. Ron Artest and LeVar Postel at the forwards. Tyrone Grant the center. Bootsy Thornton and Eric Barkley the guards. For Maryland at 28-5, LaRon Profit and Terrence Morris the forwards. Lonnie Baxter is the center. And the guards are Terrell Stokes at the point and Steve Francis. The officials working this game: Curtis Shaw, David Hall, and Kerry Sitton. This seems to be the most anticipated matchup among all of the matchups in the Sweet 16, and it's Maryland in white, St. John's in red, and they're underway. The tip controlled by Terrence Morris of Maryland.
And the Johnnies, Sean McDonough go, man.
Stokes with the pass to LaRon Profit. In the lane, Baxter. He had it blocked from behind by Artest. Baxter tries again, and Artest fouled him from behind. Got a piece of the ball, but apparently fouled him with the body. So very quickly, 15 seconds in, St. John's best player, Artest, has a foul.
And Sean, it's going to be very important for both teams to establish a post identity. whether it's the big guy or the forwards, or when you think of Francis, his ability to post up, it's going to be key for both teams.
Baxter makes the first, and Maryland has the lead. Mike Jarvis doesn't seem very concerned about that. He's the coast of New York in his first season at St. John's. Whistle is Baxter with lining up the seconds and moving along the lane, so they're going to reset. There's Gary Williams in his 10th season in Maryland. Neither of these coaches has been past this point in his career. The deepest either has gone into the tournament, the Sweet 16.
And showing the ability to full court pressure, the two-guard mentality of Barkley and Artest. Point guard is going to be key to diffuse the pressure.
Eric Barkley, freshman point guard, had a terrific freshman year. Now Bootsy Thornton into Artest.
Artest does a nice job with his step moves in the box area. Can step out for the three, and we saw the penetrating ability.
Barkley, the three for Eric Barkley with a shot clock at 5.
Boy, a little nylon early. He's confident, a big game type of player, Eric Barkley.
We should note there'd been some concern in the St. John's camp about the health and well-being of Ron Artest. He said yesterday at the press conference he had been sick on Tuesday night, and that in his desire to get to the restroom quickly, he tripped and hurt his foot. But the St. John's people tell us he's fine today, 100%. That shouldn't be a factor at all. Ron Profit with the soft touch.
And that's what they can do. Different people can penetrate and make shots.
And the pressure handled by St. John's as Thornton got it over to Tyrone Grant.
Nice post up.
Artest into the lane, a whistle.
He's got some magic in his game. That half-court trap right over by the sideline is Death Valley. You notice St. John's got it to the timeline, delayed, and then posted up and was constructive in their offensive pursuit.
Now on Lonnie Baxter, his first, Maryland's first, so Artest goes to the line, the sophomore from Queensbridge, New York, for his first point. He's their leading scorer, third leading rebounder, second in assists. He's really the second point guard on the floor as far as Mike Jarvis is concerned.
Now that key first foul, something he's got to be concerned about in his aggressive play. They're extending the floor, a little diamond trap here. They're not going to gamble, hold out, just force a slowdown for Maryland.
Noakes, an excellent ball handler at the point, doesn't score very much, but he's a 3-year starter and had a great assist-to-turnover ratio this year.
2-3 zone, Sean.
Francis, a step back for 3. Rebound controlled by LeVar Postel. He's been a part-time starter this season for much of the year, 6th man, but Mike Jarvis felt it's important to get off to a good start tonight. Postel's one of his 5 best players, so he's in there at the beginning. Grant, strong move for 2 for Tyrone Grant.
Undersized but effective. Also can kick out of there. Nice gamble here by Artest.
And the save right in front of the timers table. Thornton scores in transition.
They can get some cheap points too. Maryland known for it, but St. John's adept at it as well.
First bucket for Bootsy Thornton, a 6-0 run for the Red Storm. And St. John's leads by 5.
Now, this is the kind of game where Stokes can be a factor if they stay in the zone. He'll stick that 3 on occasion when they need it.
Terrence Morris was fouled as he hoisted the runner in the lane.
The read defensively just terrific as St. John's has that ability to close, a little step in, the slap back, good communication skills, and these easy baskets add up, particularly against Maryland, who causes clubs to turn over in bursts, Sean. We'll see them get a few in a row.
Morris makes the first free throw. He's an excellent free throw shooter at better than 82% for the year. Terrence, a sophomore from Frederick, Maryland. First team All-ACC this year, along with Steve Francis. And Morris does it in a much quieter way. Jerry Williams says you don't really notice him, then you look up at the end of the night, it's another double-double for Terrence Morris.
And he said there's no ceiling to his game.
On the baseline, the runner for Thornton wouldn't go. Postel tried to jam and was met at the rim by Baxter.
Numbers.
3-on-2. The pull-up by Profit. And a foul on the rebounding action. Lonnie Baxter was over the back, and that's 2 quick fouls on Baxter. They're playing without Obina Kesey, their starting center for most of the year, has been out since early February with a ruptured Achilles. We want to remind those of you expecting to see the Gonzaga-Florida game. We'll get you out to the West Region in Phoenix for the tip of that game, which will be at 7:55 Eastern Time. So Baxter's had to take a seat with his 2 fouls, and Mike Martisic is in, the 7-footer wearing number 33 for the Terrapins.
And twice now to be able to defuse the half-court trap. Once to the post, once to the sideline.
There's Martisic defending Tyrone Grant. Artest, a quick 3. Postel again up for the offensive rebound, and the air ball over the 7-footer Martisic.
Terrific offensive rebounder. Has to finish.
Francis on the seam, but carried the ball.
It looked good, but unfortunately was detected. He's terrific at finding a gap in the zone and getting to the middle of it.
Second turnover committed by Maryland at St. John's by 3. Just more than 3.5 minutes played here in Knoxville on the campus of the University of Tennessee. Barkley missed a 3. Martisic tipped it out to Francis. 1-on-2 for the moment. Morris thought about it and then made a 3.
And they're terrific at getting numbers down the floor. Occasionally they'll kick back for that 3.
Not really all-out pressure being applied here by Maryland as the Terps have run off 5 in a row to tie up the game. Barkley lost it over the end line.
Almost an unforced turnover situation.
First turnover committed by the Red Storm. And a timeout with Maryland and St. John's tied at 9. St. John's and Maryland tied at 9. Here's Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Sean, when Ron Artest started limping at yesterday's shoot-around, questions abounded, but so did the answers. St. John's trainer Don Linfon told me that Artest's right foot had been taped too loosely, so they tightened it. Mike Jarvis said it was taped too tightly, but that the limp was more Artest's way of saying he didn't want to work too hard at the shoot-around. And, Sean, as you said earlier, Artest said he tripped in the middle of the night on his way to the bathroom. I spoke to Artest just before the game. He said his foot is not quite 100%, but that it will not affect him tonight. Sean?
And, Michelle, you are almost in a good position to take a charge there. Steve Francis scored for Maryland to give the Terps the lead. They're on a 7-0 run.
A little gamble out of the timeout by St. John's. The push down gave Francis an open court opportunity. They switched the inside screen.
And they go into Grant, who missed from in close, but there for the putback was Bootsy Thornton.
Another one of those guys that can get good offensive position and rebound.
Thornton's a junior from Baltimore, wasn't recruited out of Dunbar by Maryland as his grades weren't good enough. Martisic scored quickly for the Terps.
How about the great control by Terrell Stokes? Nice feel, find a dive.
Now Barkley, a freshman from Christ the Canyon, New York City, then spent a year at prep school on an undefeated team at Maine Central Institute in Pittsfield, Maine. 35-0, led by Barkley. Francis, an errant pass, and Profit couldn't accept him in front of the St. John's bench. We want to remind those of you expecting to see the game between Gonzaga and Florida. We'll get you out to the West Region in Phoenix for the tip-off of that game at 7:55 Eastern. That's in less than 5 minutes from now.
And Sean, you noticed Mike Jarvis earlier in the game sitting relaxed. I think he wanted to be cool, make sure Barkley and Artest are calm and relaxed, particularly in the face of the heat of the press by Maryland.
Reggie Jesse, part-time starter this year, is on the court now for St. John's at forward, number 41.
Another one of those good passing up front people.
Jesse had an open 3 but didn't want to take it. He takes the handoff from Artest and then had it blocked. Just more than 6 minutes played. Maryland by 2. Francis shed Jesse with the fake and then was short with the jumper.
They pulled the string there, but a nice pump fake they bit. As St. John's continues to get it inside, Sean, they're going to get some easy hoops.
Thornton on a cut into the lane, short with it, got his own rebound. Maryland fans thought he traveled. Barkley missed a 3. The rebound to LaRon Profit. Bartosic. And Profit thought about a 3, and then he traveled. Get online tomorrow at 3 Eastern and chat about all of the action from the tournament with Clark Kellogg. Just log on to cbs.sportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
You notice a little of Iowa and Tom Davis in that flex offense that Maryland runs. Of course, Gary Williams assisted under him, runs some of those things. A little bit impatient with the set. They didn't let it develop.
Four Maryland turnovers here in the first 7 minutes. And the Red Storm handling the pressure again. Our test with the ball with Barkley, Grant, Jesse, and Postel. A big lineup, relatively speaking, for St. John's. Not a very big team. 6'7", their tallest starter. Postel for 3. Andy Miller's on the court now for Maryland, wearing number 15. Juan Dixon's in, number 5. Brian Watkins, 45. Also in for the Terps. Morris, a step back, missed a 3. Jesse the rebound.
They got some perimeter shooters in there. Nice run here by Grant.
And he scored in transition to tie the game at 13.
Everybody concentrating. Nobody faced up and tagged their guy. I think it's important for Maryland to run their stuff and be patient if they don't get an easy one.
Maryland, one of the highest scoring teams in the nation at 85 points per game. That's 5th in the nation in scoring offense. St. John's, a very respectable 79 a game.
Well, they both like to run selectively. St. John's very smart. That's why everybody has to get back and tag individually. Good cut.
And Brian Watkins knocked it in, and that's a popular score here in Knoxville. Brian's a senior from Nashville, Tennessee. He needed 21 tickets to take care of his relatives tonight, including his dad, Henry, who was a terrific player at Tennessee State.
Just one more than you, I might add, from your days doing football down here.
2-point edge for Maryland on the basket by Watkins.
And you know both coaches went through a lot of tape. Here's a little screen down.
Postel, that's the 2. He's gone cold. Artest had it and then lost it. He was stripped by Ron Dixon. Francis.
What a crossover he has. And the rolling walk.
Watkins traveled the 5th Maryland turnover. 11:24 left in the first half. Gary Williams Terps up by 2. There have been 4 ties and 4 lead changes already. And Maryland has a 2-point lead. And Bill, you talked about Maryland. They like to keep it up and down, but they do have to be patient and run their offense when they get stuck in a half court.
Well, St. John's going to force you into those situations. You've got to be smart. There's going to be a little bump, and Brian Watkins is going to step right into the gap. They'll do it lower on the box or right at the foul line. That's a nice, easy delivery. Good control. I think on the other hand, St. John's Postel rushing shots, not playing under control.
LeVar Postel, 0 for 4 from the floor. He has the ball now on the floor with Artest, Barkley, Grant, and Jesse. Barkley with 20 on the shot clock. Grant in the lane a long time, short with the banker. Andy Miller couldn't control the rebound.
Hey, he's wide open in that block area, Grant, as he rolls the lane. Got to use the dribble a little more. He's great with the left.
Artest had it blocked by Morris.
Ooh, get it out. And the leak out.
Francis had Miller all alone for a layup or a dunk, but he couldn't get it through to Danny. And now Grant is double teamed in the backcourt.
Hey, Artest showed you what he can do with either hand, his dexterity, good strength, and Morris with a great presentation.
Nearly midway through the first half. Artest.
They're trailing to the post here. This is not good defense.
And Jesse scored. He turned to the basket at a wide open shot from about 10 feet, and he did not miss.
And Steve Francis a little lackadaisical on that post denial.
Francis in his first year at Maryland as a junior college transfer. Gary Williams said, I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was this good, particularly as a passer and as a defender. There's Watkins, who's now given him 4 points off the bench.
How impressive is he? Around a 45% shooter, 2 open looks. Steve Francis just shook everybody up. I don't think they realized what a great offensive performer he was. Turnover, key spot in Death Valley.
And Francis missed a layup, turned his body to ward off Eric Barkley, and that might have messed him up. Now Postell, fouled, counted, and a chance for a three-point play.
Great counter-punching team. If you don't finish, St. John's does a wonderful job of getting back, protecting, and then kicking out. I mentioned Postell struggling, but first in the open floor, the Death Valley trap worked. They caused a turnover. I think Steve Francis was looking to dunk. The key is to make it the one hand off the dribble pass. Postell takes the hit, and gets to the foul line.
And the foul was on Watkins, his first, and the third on Maryland here in the first half. And Francis is off to a little bit of a shaky start as well. 1 for 4 from the field.
So Sean, a writer in New York, Lynn Robbins, in the New York Post, had an article today on comparing the two teams. And in the article, he favored 4 positions for St. John's. And the Maryland coaches took it and passed it around the room. So there's a little use of the psyche going on by Gary Williams. Take a look at him now, Sean. It'll be a little messy later during the game.
Gary Williams, known for, among other things, his ability to sweat right through his suit, along with assistant coach Billy Hahn, who's already in full lather over there on the Maryland bench.
And they don't spend much on their clothing, fortunately.
Juan Dixon will pull it out with Francis, Martisic, Morris, and Profit now for the Terrapins, who trailed by 1. It's been nipped and tucked throughout these first 11 minutes. Martisic just dropped the pass at the elbow.
Now the zone's been good to them. They helped them with Indiana, used it against Miami, Connecticut late in the year. Starting to become accustomed to playing it, St. John's.
St. John's a winner over Samford in the first round, and they pummeled Indiana in round 2, giving the Hoosiers their worst loss ever in the NCAA tournament. 86-61 was the final. Thornton missed the 3. LaRon Profit the rebound.
And that's Bootsy's shot. On the other end, Artest is played by Martisic, a nice looking open jumper, but defensively now both teams not stepping up, playing what they're capable of doing.
LaRon Profit has 5. It's Maryland by 1.
They got Martisic on Manuel now, which is a good move. I don't think you can play Artest.
Manuel, number 33, doesn't play very much. He's appeared in 29 of their 35 games prior to tonight. Averages 10 minutes in those appearances. Artest. And it's swatted away by Morris. Francis.
He took away Profit's lane there, Sean. He should have given it to Profit or waved them around them. Steve not playing as comfortably as he would like, or I'm sure Gary Williams at this point. He could have created a beautiful 3-on-2 fast break.
Foul on Jesse was his first. Timeout with 7:50 left in the first half in Knoxville. Playing our song here in Knoxville, where Maryland leads by 1. Near the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we'll select the Chevrolet most valuable player of the game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed more than $7 million to the general scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities.
Sean, they run a little inside screen to get it in.
Stokes got it into Morris, and now Terrell Stokes has it back. As a senior, he's having his best season at the University of Maryland. Stokes maligned over the years. They run a backdoor lob, and Martisic missed it off the pass from Francis.
Oh, you can't ruin that play, Sean. That was just terrific, gorgeous little screen, and Francis shows how unselfish he is.
Bootsy Thornton in the corner to Tyrone Grant, and now Eric Barkley with LeVar Postell and Ron Artest for the Red Storm.
So many people, they slip into the goal. Pretty look.
Artest, a left-handed pass to Thornton underneath. Bill, you made the point during the commercial. Kings still look a little bit jittery.
And that was one of the few times they found somebody. Nice penetration. Both clubs inside people catch the basketball. Case in point.
Francis, and it's blocked by Artest into the hands of Grant. St. John's up 1, under 7 minutes left in the first half.
Pretty look. Oh, goodness, is that tough. Barkley, the magician.
And a 20-second timeout called by Gary Williams.
Talked on the open about the penetrating ability of both teams. So creative. Ron Artest, an artist in action. The rest are rather easy for Bootsy. Barkley is creative as well with the counter.
And Thornton has 8 points. Saturday on CBS. She's not just another pretty face. When Kelly Hu walks the beat, law enforcement is a beautiful thing. An all-new martial law starring Sammo Hung in Arsenio Hall Saturday on CBS.
Well, I guess Ron Artest is feeling pretty good, Sean, huh?
Yes.
Blaming it all on peanuts. I tried that myself once or twice in my lifetime.
We know better. Stokes the skip to Profit with Francis, Martisic, and Morris. For Maryland, a travel called against Profit, the 8th Maryland turnover. They played the first 3 minutes with their starting center, Lonnie Backstreet. He's been out since after getting 2 quick fouls. And Gary Williams says that's typical of Baxter. Foul prone early, but then when he comes back in, ordinarily he's okay in terms of fouls the rest of the way.
Says he plays better when he goes back in. Of course, without Akese, they've done a great job. Look at him using all the floor here, St. John's.
Good save of a high pass by Postel in the corner.
What Mike Jarvis has done during the course of the year, he's deep in this bench. Chudney Gray now can run the point, give Barkley a blow, penetrate dish, can shoot outside.
Nice setup by Chudney Gray to Jesse, but he missed the shot and then knocked it out of bounds, out of the hands of Morris.
See, one thing with Maryland, they're not scoring, so they can't get that pressure going. They like to create some enthusiasm for themselves.
Profit. Following the rebounding action. Terrence Morris didn't like the call, but he's whistled for the foul. His first and the team's 4th.
So now they're trying to score quickly. They ran the one nice set for Gary Williams. Now they've gotten away with the catch, clutched, and ducked.
Gary Williams looking for career victory number 400 tonight. When you add up all the victories at Maryland, Ohio State, Boston College, and American U, he's 399 and 245.
He's got a few of mine in there too, Sean, but so does everybody else. So what's the big deal? And they've just done a great job in the half-court press here, settling or attacking.
Red Storm by 3. Artest allowing him to move into the lane regularly. They've done a good job of shutting that off. Shot clock down to 6. Barkley, the 3-pointer.
He likes to stick it in there. A little early for vegetables, though.
7-0 run for St. John's.
Run your stuff now, Maryland. Get some touches, reverse the ball. Straight up Minuteman, but now they go to 2-3 now.
Martisic. Martisic hasn't played as well this year as a sophomore as he did last year as a freshman. His tip wouldn't go. He'll try again. That one was blocked by Tyrone Grant.
Numbers.
Barkley lobs it back to Artest.
Oh! A picture of beauty. Great block to set it up.
Artest the block, and then he ran the floor, got it back from Barkley, and a timeout called by Stokes as he was in trouble in front of his coach.
Right now, just terrific defensive maneuvering. Lou Conaseca, former coach of St. John's, hated his zone. Well, he was happy against Indiana. He's happy right now as Mike Jarvis's guys block shots, fill, and oh, can he elevate strength and beauty in motion. And Barkley hit the 3 or lead to conclusion.
Lou Conaseca is here tonight, cheering on Mike Jarvis and the Red Storm. There's the legendary coach, sitting alongside the athletic director, Ed Mineta. Lou said this is the best St. John's team in terms of passing that he can remember, and he goes back to 1946.
I know he's old, but you don't have to rub it in. Because Louis won't eat for 4 days if they continue winning. He doesn't feel there's a good Italian restaurant west of the Hudson. So he'll be starvation diet down here.
This is the largest lead for either team, but as our colleague Clark Kellogg would say, Maryland has excellent spurt ability. They can get right back on you in a hurry.
And they got to ring the bell to do it. Dixon in the game, wonderful deep shooter, a threat. I think they need to drive the gaps and turn and look under.
So, a rare attempt. Most of his field goal tries are threes. The shot clock went off, but St. John's was already in possession. Folks attempt just 3.5 shots a game.
So this is where St. John's is stuck. They run their stuff, grind it. If they get a good one early, they'll take a nice double screen for the look to LeVore.
And Costello still can't get one to drop. Here's Stokes on the push. He's more of an assist man, 206 for the year. Dixon a runner, and it spins out. Maryland has the lid on the basket right now. They've been stuck on 19 points.
One of the few good looks they've had, that little kiss.
And a foul called by the outside official. Gary Williams doesn't like that. Martisic called for a hack as Thornton took it into traffic. Saturday on CBS, meet two private eyes who have learned from the best. Chuck Norris, from the producers of Walker, Texas Ranger. It's the next generation of justice. An all-new Sons of Thunder, Saturday on CBS.
Much ballyhooed junior college players. You think of Bootsy and, of course, Steve Francis. Miraculous what they've done for themselves and their careers.
And for their teams. Each in his first season at his current school. Bootsy out of Tallahassee, CC, where he's the all-time leading scorer. Broke Jason Sapola's scoring records there. Sapola went on to Syracuse. The Red Storm up by 9.
Freeze them. We push quality to the limit. And then we crash them. Now you can ride along. At the new test track presented by General Motors. Open now at Walt Disney World Resort. Fasten your seatbelt.
Here I am at the University of Cincinnati, continuing to prove that everyone loves the taste of Pepsi One.
Ready? Open up. Open wide.
That's good.
Drink it out of your glove. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Tell me what you think of the taste.
It's really refreshing.
Only 1 calorie, man. I'm serious. It's awesome, baby!
Pepsi One, a new secret formula. Makes it taste too good to be called diet.
There it is, a 1 calorie drink! Woo! Woo!
Before we put you under, I just want you to know that I'll be prepping you for your eye lift and lip augmentation. Dr. Frank will be in charge of giving you that perfect nose you've always wanted.
My broker recommended it to me at 76. It's down to 52. I think I've lost almost as much as he's made.
Don't you wish everybody used Charles Schwab? With financial help that has to do with your goals, not our investment specialist's commission, because they're not on commission. Schwab, ready to move up?
Give it up. Your Colonel's got the moves this NCAA season, because my popcorn chicken's back at KFC. Crunchy morsels of tender white meat. Try some for $1.99. Go, Colonel. Go, Colonel. The Colonel, he's the man.
Enterprise rent-a-car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. These two private eyes have what it takes to be heroes. Maybe it's because they learned from the best. Chuck Norris. All new Sons of Thunder, CBS Saturday.
Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg back in our studios in New York. St. John's with a 28-19 lead on Maryland. We'll keep that score at the bottom of your screen and tell you what's happening in Phoenix at the America West Arena in the semifinal game between Gonzaga and Florida. Clark?
You know, when I looked at this game, I thought it, too, would be an exciting, entertaining type game. Neither team has really gotten into their running game, but Gonzaga on top because of their ability to knock down the perimeter shot. 4 of 6 from behind the three-point line.
Bulldogs shoot better on threes than they do the twos, at least in this tournament they have so far.
And they're not afraid to cast it up from behind the arc. 20 of 41 from the three-point line in the prior 2 tournament games.
When you're tagged as a Cinderella, Clark, do you think that makes it a lot easier to go out there and play the game in the tournament pressure?
Well, Gonzaga doesn't feel like they are Cinderella. They had a very good year last year, weren't in the tournament, and felt like they deserved to be there. So they feel like they're proving to the basketball world that they're an outstanding basketball team. And guess what? They are proving it. They shoot it. They play aggressive man-to-man defense. And in the game against Stanford, they proved they're a good rebounding team as well.
All right, Clark, we'll keep you advised of what's happening to that. Let's go back to St. John's in Maryland. Sean McDonough, Bill Rafter.
Thank you, Greg and Clark. While we were away, each team had a shot block. Terrence Morris of Maryland Had a shot blocked by Ron Artest. So Maryland is now at more than 5.5 minutes without a point. Shot clock at 9 for Postel, along with the jumper. Profit determined to come up with that rebound, and Tyrone Grant fouled him on a reach-in. His first and the team's fourth. We talked at the very top of the telecast, Bill, about tempo and pace being the key, and right now, St. John's has it right where it wants it.
Well, Ron Artest on his block, they got out on the floor, and Bootsy brought the ball all the way back out. Great control. They don't want to get in it unless you get a good look. And counter that Maryland ineffective scoring. They can't get their press and generate a lot of energy.
Off the press if you don't score. That's the problem for Maryland right now. Morris turned it over again. Right to Postel. They'll run when they have the chance. Thornton's pass got deflected back to him by Francis. Postel scores.
Postel always in the right spot. Bootsy got a little too fancy with the one-hand delivery.
Nearly 5.5 minutes without a point for Maryland. This is the largest lead for the Red Storm with 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Miller has been very good lately, along with that baseline jumper. Postel, another rebound. Foul. And it wouldn't drop for Grant, and he went reaching for his hand, his left hand. He's had problems with the right wrist. He fractured a bone in that wrist during the season. Looks like he might have dislocated a finger there, and he's looking for his teammates to put it back in place.
Oh, I think I'd opt for the trainer. My goodness. I mean, he'll have some sympathy. Oh, toughness. But the ability to get out on the floor, the 2-3 zone by St. John's. Have you ever seen players do it? They usually get a tray, maybe in the schoolyard. But the transition from the zone to the other end has been terrific. And what you need, also some individual talent. The little ability to help and assist on the glass. This is the play where Grant got hurt earlier. Postel. Ooh. John Linfante's been a busy guy. John, longtime trainer, used to be at Seton Hall as well. We paid him in the dark. He went to St. John's.
Smart move here as usual by Mike Jarvis. Grant goes out, so he sends his best free throw shooter, Colin Charles, in. He's at 87.8% for the year, 36 of 41. The junior from Toronto, Ontario, made the first. Coming up on Pennzoil at the half, Greg and Clark get you updated on all the tournament happenings. Plus a live look into the Florida Gonzaga game, all coming up on Pennzoil at the half.
A fortuitous dislocation when you go from 60% to Colin Charles. That's impressive. Nice move into the game on the bench.
And the Red Storm run continues.
They can't bring him in because of the... well, okay, they can because it isn't Grant.
Charles went out, replaced by a larger man, Donald Emanuel, the 6'8" freshman from Houston who played a few moments earlier. 14-0 run.
They're showing the ability here has got to be foul line turn. That's deep. Oh, my goodness.
When you're struggling to score, sometimes you're in too much of a hurry to score. Just with a very long three. The Red Storm storming the basket. Emmanuel laid it in.
Oh, hallelujah, the way they're running the break. Emmanuel. All because of the defense, the quick shot by... Oh, not a good play by Watkins. Frustration, Sean, just racked Eric Barkley, and he can get under your skin, too. He's a heady kid. Played a lot of basketball worldwide. Christ the King with Bobby Oliva, MCI, International Basketball at Riverside Church. He knows how to frustrate you.
Well, Barkley will go to the line because it's the 1-and-1. That's the 7th-team foul against Maryland and the second personal on Brian Watkins. So Barkley goes to the line. He was a McDonald's All-American last year at Maine Central Institute. Averaged 27 points, 8 assists. And he was a Christ the King in the city. They won the state championship, the city championship his freshman and sophomore year.
And so there's the play. He just gets in the way, and Watkins losing control. And you get the feeling with Maryland, they are not in a comfort zone whatsoever. And Gary Williams has been very subdued. It's just their reaction has not been the positive one.
Maryland's gone 7 minutes and 8 seconds now without scoring a point. This has been a tournament marked by long scoring droughts for many teams. Well, this is surprising when Maryland, 5th in the nation in scoring, goes more than 7 minutes.
And look how far away from the zone they are. And they get a little small change on the dribble. LeVar Postel, you've got to take it to the zone, have 2 people play you, and have cuts. And right now, they're not doing much of anything against the zone, but settling for the deep one.
First foul on Postel, 5 on the team. They shoot the 1-and-1 on the 17 foul. Trouble to get it in. Stokes uses another timeout.
And Sean, you know what St. John's does? They went man-to-man that trip that threw Maryland totally off. Francis thought he would get a free look in the corner. They stepped up and played a man-to-man. He's not too cool right now, I would say, huh?
No. They have 2 full timeouts left. They've been burning timeouts with regularity here in the first half. We look back at a great moment from St. John's NCAA tournament history. 1985, the West Regional Final in Denver. Chris Mullen leading St. John's, then the Redmen against Jim Valvano's NC State Wolfpack. Mullen at 25 and Luke Hart second. And the Redmen advanced to the Final Four for the second time in school history. First since 1952. 69-60 was the final.
What jumps out are Louis' unattractive sweaters and the Willies. The shorty pants on Mull. And right here, the offensive foul not going Maryland's way whatsoever. And Gary looking on. Not much they can run, but the step-in defense, that was one of those bang-bangers. You could argue either way. Once you leave that air and the guy slides in, it could go the other way.
First foul on Profit. St. John's trying to get to the Final Four for the 3rd time. 52 and 85, their only 2 appearances. They lost to Kansas in the national championship game in 52. Lost to Georgetown in the national semifinal in 85. And scoring inside, Tyrone Grant.
And they can't get any turnovers. St. John's is countering. Great hesitation move by Grant, but all of a sudden it's forced to play slowly, Maryland, and it's frustrating.
The last Maryland point came with 8:26 left in the half. Pretty low. Will they score before halftime? They're running out of time. They're 15 to shoot.
They got to screen the zone in a little bit, Sean, or turn and look underneath. Everything's on the perimeter.
Pass deflected off the hands of Profit. And a timeout by St. John's.
But Mike Jarvis couldn't have bottled it any better. I mean, yesterday in chatting with us, he wasn't the least bit concerned about tempo. He felt comfortable with the 2-guard mentality. They wouldn't rush. They'd make good judgments. His maturity has impacted as this team has grown. You can see their resolve, their understanding, their commitment to his philosophy.
Academic All-Stars recognize 1 player on each team for academic excellence. For tonight's game, the All-Stars are LeVar Postel of St. John's, a 3.0 student majoring in Spanish, and Mike Mardisich of Maryland, an outstanding student majoring in business administration out of high school. Mike was accepted to Harvard, but elected to come to Maryland to play basketball in Gary Williams' program. And Mike Jarvis said it right yesterday. He said, we can run if it's there. We'd like not to get in a track meet. That favors Maryland. And he knew his team had the good decision makers to know when to attack, when to pull it up.
And they have so many guys that can handle. That's what makes them a tough out against the press. Not a good look here, but late.
Francis has time. Will they score before the half ends? No, that's a charge.
Barkley had it all set up, and Steve Francis playing out of sorts right now, trying to dominate, trying to initiate some good, positive vibes for his team. But Barkley, so understanding. What did Mike say? He's not a freshman. He wasn't a freshman when he started here.
2 fouls on Francis. Barring a miracle, Maryland's going to go the final 8:26 of the half without scoring. The way it's been going for St. John's, you kind of expected that heave by Barkley to go in. Bootsy Thornton, the Baltimore native, doing a lot of damage to his home state university, and St. John's ends the half on a 20-0 run. They lead by 19 at halftime. Here's Michelle.
All right, with Mike Jarvis, Coach, you said coming in you were concerned about their press. You've handled it well. How do you like the pace of this one?
Well, I love it right now. I'm amazed. I can't believe we're up by this much, but you know what? We'll take it, and I'm going to go in and tell my guys that this thing is far from over.
How much track did you keep of these numbers? I mean, you're on a 20-0 run right now.
Are you serious? I'm glad you told me. I'll tell the team when I go in at halftime. Thank you.
Coach, good luck the rest of the way. Back to you, Sean.
All right, Michelle, at the end of the first half, the score, St. John's 38, Maryland 19. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message.
Pennzoil at the half, sponsored by Pennzoil, specially formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
Hi, once again, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, and welcome to Pennzoil at the half. Our score at halftime, St. John's leading Maryland 38-19. I'm joined once again by Clark Kellogg. St. John has registered 25 and 26-point wins in the tournament so far. Maryland averages 79 a game, and they come out and score 19 in the first half.
It's amazing to look at the score of this game, but when you think about Maryland during the course of the regular season, Greg, they struggled when they were forced to play half court. St. John's got the lead, and they've made Maryland stay out of the transition game, and that's why they've been able to get out to this huge lead. Still a big surprise, though.
All right, Clark. Meanwhile, they are winding down the first half in the West Regional semifinal in Phoenix. America West Arena, Gonzaga doing battle with the Florida Gators. Let's take you there live now, enjoying Gus Johnson and Dan Bonner.
4:40 to go in the first half of play. And that is Stoll hitting the jump shot. And Gonzaga leads it 26-18. The story, the three-point shooting for both teams. Santangelo blocked. Brent Wright, and he's fouled inside. Take a look at the shooting. For Florida, they're 0 for 8. Gonzaga 5 of 8 from the three-point line. And the bracket in the West Regional.
Florida and Gonzaga really have been getting up and down. Iowa and Connecticut to follow. It's been exactly the kind of game we expected in terms of the pace of the game. For Billy Donovan and his crew, however, they have not been able to get the three-point basket to go in the goal. Dan Munson has to be satisfied at this point. Some foul trouble for his inside people, a source of concern.
Brent Wright at the line. The first is good. He's a sophomore from Miami.
What time does one?
Mr. Basketball in the state of Florida, his senior season. And the second is good. 7-0 run now for the Gators. They get into the press. Santangelo up the sideline. And Florida back into the zone.
Good quickness by Shannon out on the front of that zone.
Fromm, quick release. Long rebound to Wright.
Wright was right up on him. Not a good decision by Fromm to let that one go. Nobody's guarding Wright.
16-footer. Count it. Here come the Gators. 3 and 53 to go and a steal. But the timeout had been called by Gonzaga. They want a 20-second timeout.
That's what you call a great timeout. Call the timeout so you avoid the steal.
And we talk about this Florida team. Coming into this game, they advanced to the Sweet 16 for the third time in the school's history by beating Penn and by beating Weber State. They were down by 13 to Penn and down by 5 to Weber State. And the tournament summary.
Big Ten teams doing very well in this tournament. Of course, we need some new Final Four guys. 3 of them are already gone. Duke, they will play tomorrow and see if their run through the tournament can continue against Southwest Missouri State. The Big Ten matching the SEC with 9 and 3 marks thus far.
Florida, 9 unanswered points. Gonzaga, they've led by as many as 13 here in the first half of play. Eaton in the low post, blocked from behind and fouled. Weeks snuck up behind him, but got a little piece of his hand in the process.
The zone has sort of changed the tempo a little bit for Florida. They were having a difficult time guarding the screens and cuts of Gonzaga, but since they've gone into the zone, it slowed Gonzaga down a little bit, and Florida able to utilize its quickness along the front of that zone to prevent the easy three-point pass.
So Jeremy Eaton, first free throw is good. He's a senior from Benton City, Washington. Attended Walla Walla Junior College for 2 years. 6'11".
And a 70% free throw shooter on a team that shoots 73%.
Second one no good. Miller with the rebound. 3:38 to go first half of play. Gonzaga leads it 27-22. Stoll for 3, wide open, and he doesn't miss very many of them.
So the Florida Gators now cut into Gonzaga's lead. It's just a 2-point game now as they approach 3 minutes to play in the first half. We want to remind you, coming up next, 4th seed Ohio State against the top seed in the South, Auburn. That game tips at about 9:55 Eastern time. And then the top seed in the West, UConn, takes on number 5 Iowa. That'll tip at about 10:15 Eastern time. We will get you back to the second half of the game that you've been watching between St. John's and Maryland. First, take a look at Ron Artest. Only 4 points tonight, but an emphatic 2 right here.
Pennzoil at the half has been sponsored by Pennzoil, specially formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
Stunning score at halftime. St. John's leads Maryland by 19. We'll return to Knoxville after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, the Intel Pentium 3 processor, First Union, and by Propecia.
Back in Knoxville at halftime, St. John's leads Maryland by 19. A moment ago, Michelle spoke with Gary Williams.
Coach, St. John's finished that first half on a 20-0 run. How do you shift the momentum here?
Well, we didn't play. I mean, you have to give St. John's credit, but we didn't run any plays. We didn't work hard on defense, and against a good team, they can catch you like that. So we've got time. We just have to change the way we play and play like we played, you know, most of the year.
Coach, good luck. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe.
And Bill, it seemed through much of that first half that Maryland really had trouble against St. John's zone, just as Indiana did.
Out of sync. They really didn't run a lot of things. They settled for deep shots, Sean. That's got to change. Got to screen people, come up with some imaginative, creative offense. And unfortunately, in the zone, they did not do much of the screening, and they're going to have to change that a little bit. That can set up their pressure and their spurtability, to quote Clark Gillis.
Lowest scoring first half of the year for Maryland. The previous low was 21 in the first half of the game at Wake Forest. Back in late January, the largest deficit Maryland overcame to win a game this year was 8 points at Clemson in mid-January. The biggest comeback in school history was memorable in 1997. There's a 5 count. Stokes was up tightly on Eric Barkley back in January 1997. College basketball fans remember this. Gary Williams and Maryland trailed at North Carolina by 22 with 14:20 remaining in the game and won by 10 at a stunned Dean Smith Center.
And this year, oh, not a good look here. It was right in our angle there. Sean, you've got to do a better job. They picked up the defense, and now, unfortunately, the offensive end, they don't complement it. This year, I think at Clemson, they got into overtime. They were down by 8, so there's possibilities, but they got to expend a lot of energy and don't make mistakes with the ball like that. Nice look.
And Grant couldn't handle it, so both teams are sloppy.
That's one that was not a good pass, no question, but the look was there. Somehow you got to get down like a catcher and protect the ball. Tyrone not used to, as most big guys, getting down that low.
Terrell Stokes and Steve Francis, Ron Profit, Lonnie Paxton played just 3 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble, and Terrence Morris.
And so they just ran a nice little set. They high-low, looked under, it was closed. You may end up with jump shots, but run something first. Good look. That's much better.
And a couple of shots for Baxter wouldn't go. They're nearing 9.5 minutes without a point. As we take a look at the first half stats, Maryland just 7 for 23. St. John's dominated in the paint, and Maryland, a team that averages 16 turnovers per game, at 13 of them in the first half.
Sean, I don't know if they gave that to Baxter or not.
They did. Here's the third.
Goodness. That's one he should have finished. He would have had the foul. Now they got to step it up on this end. Good help by Stokes.
Well, he couldn't squeeze it. And now it's Barkley opening the half with Postel, Thornton, Artest, and Grant. And a foul as Barkley moved into the lane.
And Sean, he does that better than anybody I've seen this year. Eric Barkley on the penetration, leans in. It's an offensive foul, but he gets away with it. He initiates contact. Very forceful, a very aggressive performer from the point position. Does not mind contact.
Foul on Stokes, his first, the team second. Barkley at the line with 8 points, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, now 3 for 3. The all-time lowest point total in the first half in Maryland basketball history is 16. So they came very close to that with 19. That was in February of '96 against Clemson.
Everything came out to less than 2 minutes. So, you know, I'm sure they were doing a lot of diagramming. The old-fashioned 1-3-1 offense might be effective where you roll the post. Now, at least they're screening. So Mara's screen, now they screen it. This is much better. That's the way to execute.
And a foul called, a charge. Fouls on Terrell Stokes as he went to loft up the lob pass. He committed his second foul. And that's 3 quick team fouls against Maryland.
Did you think he lobbed it or pulled the string? I'd opt for the string on that one. You're being very kind this evening.
Maryland could use a little kindness right now. Down by 20. And they went scoreless the final 8:26 of the first half. We're a minute 40 to the second half, and they haven't scored.
They've been aggressive defensively, though. That's where it starts. Got to get a double there. And number 4 on Baxter. Oh.
And it's already 4 quick team fouls in a minute and 47 seconds. So if this continues, St. John's is going to shoot a lot of free throws in this half.
And they've been the forceful team. First half got to the foul line, 9 attempts. They shot the ball better, rebounded better, valued it better, plus the zone. All those things impacted on Maryland.
Bootsy Thornton makes the first. He has 10 points. Here comes Brian Watkins in, and Baxter leads with 4 fouls now. He picked up 2 fouls in under 3 minutes in the first half and 2 more in less than 2 minutes here in the second half. 11 for Thornton. Who can forget the 40 points Bootsy put on Duke?
Oh, my goodness.
Garden back in January. Hit a school record 7 threes in that game.
You were at the game, too, weren't you?
Billy Packer and I were there.
Look, that's better.
There you go. 18 minutes left in the second half. A tip-in by Watkins ends the drought. So they went 10 minutes and 25 seconds without a point.
Well, it's the Lenten season. Hosanna. That time St. John's once again diffused the pressure with a post pass.
Thornton to Artest. He's guarded tightly on the perimeter by Morris. Artest. Thornton swatted by Morris. That's his 3rd block shot.
Well, when you're struggling, you want anything you can get. They found the spot in the seam twice now. Stokes gets to the rim that time. Watkins in good position. And on this end, Artest with a left-handed release. Not a good one. They're fortunate to get this ball back.
Now there's a question the officials are conferring.
I think Watkins wants the shirt there. He wants Watkins' shirt fixed up.
Barkley to inbound. To Postel. Barkley guarded by Stokes.
And they are patient and they are clever. And it's tough to come back with a team like that as Francis gets a little nickel-dimer in there. They want to be aggressive but sound, and you're right. All of a sudden it'll be 1-on-1, and it'll be a long evening if they're on the free throw line for Maryland.
There's 5 team fouls in this half. 3 personals on Francis. And St. John's has not been whistled for a foul here in the second half.
Look at this break. Everything going their way. They're saying he's out of bounds, so Francis, pretty good defensive play for Maryland.
8th turnover by the Red Storm. St. John's trying to reach the Elite 8 for the first time since 1991. They lost to Duke in the Midwest Regional Finals. This is the first time they've even been to the Sweet 16 since that Elite 8 appearance in 1991.
Using all the floor. There's a giveaway by Barkley. Not the kind of foul he needs.
His first, the team's first, and a mock cheer up from the Maryland fans with the team fouls at 5-1 in this half.
Now, you always talk about making shots, but I think deployment and execution against the zone is as essential. You've got to complement.
Morris, short from three-point land. Artest, a long hit ahead to Grant. Shot contested by Morris. And here comes Francis. A little shake and bake. Out to Stokes.
Look at the speed by Bootsy. Now, even that runaway, not good for St. John's. You don't want to get it up and down with Maryland now. Keep them in abeyance. Slow it down.
Laron Prophet. A three-pointer by Steve Francis of Maryland gets the Terrapins back within 17. We approach 16 minutes remaining in this regional semifinal in the South.
They're trying to uptick the clock now. A little speed, good control by St. John's.
LeVar Postel for the Red Storm. Rebound for Stokes and a foul called. And Mike Jarvis thought Stokes was over the back, but instead the foul was called on his player, Tyrone Grant. The second on Tyrone. And the second team foul against the Red Storm. The winner of this game moves to the Elite Eight. We'll meet the winner of the game next here in Knoxville between the #1 seed in the South, Auburn, and the #4 seed, Ohio State.
You can see Maryland's difficulties. Right now, they're running some things and getting better looks, Sean, so there's a little step in their game at this point.
And the fans trying to help them get back into the flow as well. Watkins triple teamed, and Artest took it away.
Guys just don't know how to get rid of it in a double team. He had a guy open opposite at the elbow.
Maryland, one of the best teams in the nation all year. They were in the top 10 of the nation from the preseason poll right through the final AP poll on March 8th. They have a school record 28 wins, but they've played a dreadful game so far here tonight. Morris reached in, couldn't yank it away, and Thornton scored.
And they run a nice little baseline sequence to free Artest. Unselfish, got it into the box.
13 for Bootsy Thornton. LaRon Prophet, an air ball.
Not getting good looks. You're not going to get much profit shooting like that, right?
No, indeed. Timeout with 15:04 remaining in Knoxville. Maryland shooting 31%. They've turned it over 16 times. They're being out-rebounded. When that happens, Bill, you're going to be down when you're playing a good team like St. John.
It's going to be a long night. This 2-3 zone's been so effective. Maryland's tried to counter with some dribble penetration, doing some better things, Sean. But in converting, they went to man-to-man. I'm looking for them to trap. If they score, which has been difficult, get in the trap and cause some. It's been tough. They're settling for that deep shot. You're smiling at me.
You lost your glasses. I know you don't need them, but...
Oh, vanity.
St. John's ball. Miller trying to guard Reggie Jesse in the backcourt.
Another one of those guys that can handle. And even there, Sean, little rotation. Shake it up. Get a double.
Eric Barkley to Reggie Jesse. He loses Miller, then had his pass blocked by Terrence Morris. Morris has been one of the few Maryland players you notice consistently doing something well. He's been an excellent defender.
Even there, hedging out, blocking shots, checking out, and wow. Artest from deep, the puppy set. He can show a lot during the course of an evening.
Artest has played well in the NCAA tournament, had a double-double in the opening round win against Samford, 17 points and 10 rebounds. Had 5 steals to go with 13 points in the win over Indiana. Prophet fouled.
Big Postel in the back there, but how about the lob or fake lob to Francis? But once again, the ability to pry and settle for good shots, the difference between the two teams. A little nylon from Queensbridge. And did he make up the name of that town from what they tell us? There's really no section.
Well, we thought that, but if we talked to some people from that part of Queens, Long Island City section, there is actually a neighborhood, Queensbridge. It's from basically the area along the East River between the Queensboro and Triborough bridges, a rough neighborhood. Artest grew up in a 5-bedroom apartment. From time to time, there was as many as 17 people living in that apartment when you factored in all the nieces and nephews and cousins and aunts and uncles.
Yeah, the great thing about this time of year is you find out so much about kids and what they've been able to overcome and how successful they are despite obstacles in their life.
There are a lot of those kinds of stories on these two teams. There's Tyrone Grant scoring inside.
How about that little dribble to the lane, draw the D, dump. Very unselfish, and as you noted earlier, Louis Conasecca feeling this is the best passing team he's ever seen. And Louis was down there at St. John's during World War I.
Coaching against you. Stokes with 13.5 minutes left. And Maryland now down by 22. Francis scored inside.
And they get the full court pressure. No trap. Straight up.
Barkley.
Pretty fish.
Grant gave it back to Barkley. In amongst the taller players, Eric drew a foul.
Oh, they are just breaking them apart. Good selective decisions. Postel in the middle. The hands always ready. The wrist bandage doesn't matter as Grant's able to get himself in position to dominate. And you see Merlin, everybody stretch with the dribble and no recovery.
2 shots. Eric Barkley approaching a double-double. 9 points, 8 assists. Now he's in double figures in points with 10. We talk about all the obstacles and adversity these players on both teams have had to overcome. Eric Barkley of late been dealing with the fact that his dad, Alonzo, has been in a coma for about a month after being hit by a car that jumped a sidewalk near Alonzo's home in suburban Philadelphia. Eric doesn't talk about it very much. He lives with his mom, Shirley, in the New York City area. Francis passed off and was fouled on the pass off.
I think it may have been Bootsy with the hip check. But Barkley's one of those guys, and talking to his high school coach, and a friend of mine, Gene Schatz, works with Bobby Oliva, just the attitude, the confidence level. Occasionally, I think Mike Jarvis has to settle him down because he feels he can do so many things.
Jarvis used the word headstrong to talk about Barkley. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to convince him that something's a good idea than it might take to convince other players, because Barkley has so much self-confidence.
This team has self-confidence, and I think Mike is a guy that stirs it, knows how to back off guys, how to stimulate. He mentioned that Ron Artest has the attitude of Patrick Ewing. Same work habits, and you have your best player showing that example. You can beat a lot of obstacles.
Artest will occasionally say something that perhaps he shouldn't say, and he can be a little bit moody, but Mike Jarvis says you're able to forgive that when he's your hardest working player. And Artest is. He does set the tone at practice.
Like a lot of play-by-play guys.
Barkley, his team up by 22. Short with the runner. Lonnie Baxter backed in with 4 fouls. And the outlet pass to Steve Francis.
And a little late for Miller. He had him earlier. You can see the difference in Steve Francis. They're just not playing well. Watch him give it back here. If he has to. Nice lead. So Dixon would stay frozen and delivered.
Well, it's getting to the point now, Bill, when Maryland won't even shoot an open 6-footer. Miller looked like he had a clear shot. Decided to pass. And that led to the turnover.
And the sad part is there's no reflection on what a great year, but the disappointment when you get into the Sweet 16. Not catastrophic, but emotionally, what a letdown.
Terrence Morris scored. Baxter couldn't save it. In front of Gary Coleman and Ed Coleman on the St. John's Radio Network. They're singing a happy tune on their broadcast. Their squad up by 22.
In New York, St. John's continues to lead Maryland. Just under 12 minutes to play in the second half. Right now, we're going to take you to America West Arena in Phoenix, where Gonzaga leads Florida by 3. Gus Johnson and Dan Bonner.
Opening moments of the second half of play. Gonzaga up 37-34. 3-point shooting the key in the first half. Baseline jump shot right is good.
It's been 3-point shooting for Gonzaga. It's been the inside play for Florida. 20 points in the lane area now for the Gators.
Florida 1 of 11 from the 3-point line in the first half. Gonzaga 7 of 12 and a steal. Weeks, length of the floor, up, count it, and the foul. Second steal for Weeks.
One of the problems that Gonzaga has had in this game, they get in a hurry, and when they do, they tend to turn the ball over. And Weeks, young man who has really gained some strength in his upper body throughout his Florida career, able to take this one up right through Richie Fromm. That's 2 personal fouls on Fromm now. He joins a growing list of Bulldogs with 2 fouls.
So Weeks at the line at 6 points and make it 7. 37. Florida up rather 39-37. They trail by as many as 13 in the first half of play.
And their pressure has had an effect. They have not generated a lot of transition turnovers, but they seem to be wearing the Bulldogs down.
Fromm around a screen. You got to call all back.
And I didn't hear him call any of that.
Mackerel. And Fromm, their leading scorer, averaging 14 a game. He's got 6.
You heard of a shooter's roll? That's a shooter's bounce.
Weeks around the screen, lost it. Santangelo with the steal, straight to the hole.
What a mistake by Weeks. Even if you lose your dribble, you're allowed to recover it. He could not dribble it again, but he can go and grab it. He was afraid he was going to get called for a double dribble.
42-39, Bulldogs. Wright leans in. That's a great post move for the sophomore from Miami, Florida.
Gonzaga has had no answer for Wright on the inside. That's 13 points now. He's wearing them out.
Winnaw. Fromm frees himself. And out of bounds. The West Regional. And the bracket out here, Florida, Gonzaga. The next game, Connecticut and Iowa. A 1 versus a 5. Eddie Shannon, Wright, Major Parker, Stoltz, and Weeks on the court for the Gators. Stoltz with release, air ball. Contested nicely by Casey Calvary. And Santangelo fouled at the top of the key. And the game summary. 3-point shooting. Big statistics so far, 8 of 13. That kept Gonzaga in it, but 1 of 11 for Florida, and that kept them from running away with it.
Billy Donovan said at halftime that being only down 1 point with that differential in the 3-point shooting, he felt pretty good about it, and he ought to. His defense has also been very good. Gonzaga, an excellent shooting team. They have not shot the ball well.
And a whistle.
Foul on Dupay.
Dupay just checking into the game. Now the Academic All-Stars recognize 1 player on each team for academic excellence. For tonight's game, the All-Stars are Matt Santangelo, a human resource management major, and Patrick O'Connor, who's a poli-sci major. Santangelo up top. Here's Hall.
This is a tough matchup for Dupay.
Hall steps back. Bang! 9 of 14 from downtown for the Bulldogs. They lead it 45-41.
Nice job by Calvary to again get back to that full screen.
Dupay leans in. And what a wise play, though, by the freshman.
Freshman made a good play there. Here he backs off Hall because he's got to respect Hall's quickness, and that is what you call the step-back jump shot right there. You drive the guy off with the dribble, step back, and drill the thing.
Calvary called for his 3rd foul. That young man there, Billy Donovan, 33. When he played at Providence for Rick Pitino, he could do that as well. Is short.
Now, Dupay missed that one, but he has had an excellent tournament. 14 points in each game. Did a nice job shooting in the Penn game. Did a nice job from the free throw line in the Weber State game. And we talked to him yesterday, and we said, hey, is Billy Donovan still the best shooter on the team? And he didn't hesitate a moment. He said, no, I am.
Second free throw for Dupay is good. I don't know. Billy, when he played at Providence, he lit up the NCAA on their way to the Final Four in '87. Closing in on 17 minutes to go in the first half, in the second half rather. 45-42 Gonzaga.
Florida drops back in the zone, which they had so much success in the first half.
Santangelo shot again, and it almost went down.
That's a couple of times Santangelo has taken shots like that, Gus. Those are not good shots.
Dupay slip, stolen away by Fromm, all by himself, and the easy layup. 8 points for Fromm and 14 turnovers for Florida.
This has not been a pretty game, but it's been an intense and exciting game. These two teams with tremendous capabilities on offense.
Shannon.
This is going to be tough for Fromm out here. Dupay probably a little quicker.
9 to shoot. Dupay got the screen to the basket, kicks it out. Shannon for 3. It's an air ball. And a whistle and foul inside against Santangelo. Florida 1 of 13 from the 3-point line. And they trail it 47-42, 15 and 58 to go in the second half of play. 15:58 to go in the second half of play. Gonzaga leads it 47-42. Now the stars will be shining tomorrow here on CBS Sports. Take a look at some people that have really put up some good numbers this year.
Some great numbers. Zerbiak in particular. What a fantastic first and second round. Can he do it against the defending national champion?
Gators with the basketball. Shannon inbounding on the baseline. Miller on the right. Haslam right on the baseline. Well, footer no good. And Santangelo with the board.
That is a great rebound by Santangelo, playing that three-guard lineup. Little guys have to rebound.
Backdoor! Calvary!
We talked about his athleticism. He's been saddled with foul trouble the entire game. When they can get him inside, he can be spectacular. Calvary really able to get up quickly. Just right over top of the zone defense. They've got their heads turned. They don't see him. That is an excellent play.
Only 6'8" last season. He led the conference, the West Coast Conference, in block shots. Second this season. 49-42. Inside, Haslam on the roll, and he's fouled. Looks like Jeremy Eaton got him.
That'll be 3 fouls on Eaton. So you have Calvary with 3 fouls. You have Eaton with 3 fouls. We've still got 15 minutes and 19 seconds remaining in this game. And with Florida continuing to pound the ball inside, you have to wonder how long the Bulldogs will be able to survive in there.
Haslam, nice catch, leans in, tips up and in. Miller, the freshman. Gonzaga the other way.
They don't mind getting it quickly into the offensive end. Florida back in the 2-3 zone. They'll match up out of this.
From baseline, drops it down. Dench, nice hands, holds on, and a reach-in foul against the Gators.
Dench is one of those guys who came off the Gonzaga bench in the first half for Dan Munson and played very well. He had 7 points to go along with a couple of rebounds, and he made a great catch to save a turnover right there.
Third foul on Wright, and it's the third team foul against the Florida Gators. Ball puts things in motion. Florida in the 2-3. Dent across the lane. He's fouled again. Now, in less than 2 weeks, get ready for a new hour of comedy when the Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn premieres after David Letterman. Catch the premiere of Craig Kilborn's new talk show Monday, March 30th. So Haslam with the foul is third.
Gonzaga suddenly turning the tables a little bit, getting the ball inside, getting the Florida big guys in foul trouble.
And Dent misses the first free throw, and this Bulldog squad, they shoot 72% from the free throw line as a team.
Only 4 of 8 today, though, however.
Second one up, and good. 14:51 to go in the second half, 50-44. Gonzaga, a 10 against Florida, a 6. Broken pressure by the Bulldogs, broken easily by the Gators.
There's no defense on the part of Gonzaga. They've played mostly man-to-man.
Shannon, don't look past Haslam, and an offensive foul. Good job by Fromm.
Haslam is a guy, big guy, can do a lot of damage inside, but against the zone, he goes right to the basket, and Fromm simply stands there. We mentioned with that small lineup, Haslam has to go out with 4 personal fouls. The little guys have to get it done, and Fromm did that time.
Hall, a lot of dribbling in the backcourt. Gets it over the line, jump stop. Santangelo. 2-3 by Florida. Dent, wheels, Calvary, got it.
And see what Calvary means to this team. Again, only 7 minutes on the court in the first half.
And Gonzaga up 52-44.
And the Bulldogs stay in that zone. Again, 2-3 matchup.
Halton.
So Gonzaga with a 52-44 lead on Florida. Meanwhile, guess what has happened between St. John's and Maryland? The Terps have come alive. A 26-point deficit is now down to 9. Let's rejoin Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery.
And a careless turnover by Maryland. LaRon Prophet's outlet pass. Francis played it very nonchalantly, and it went by him. Gary Williams' team on a major move here. They're on a 19-2 run. They were down by 26 with 10:58 to go. They're within 9, and they had 2 possessions with a chance to get even closer.
And Judge St. John's has helped them with 2 quick jump shots, something they didn't do all game long. And right now the pressure steps up. This kid's tough.
And Watkins fouled Barkley. Excellent inbounding pass by Artest to Barkley, who was on the move, and Watkins committed his 3rd and the team's 9th. So with the next foul, Mike Jarvis's team will shoot 2 free throws for the rest of the game.
Eric Barkley's got ice, the ability to take big shots, not afraid to mix it up, that time using the rim to make sure there was some contact, at least get to the line.
He's 5 of 6 from the line tonight. The lead back to 10. Baxter back in with 4 fouls. Watkins leads. St. John's 16 out of 19. Now the ordinary free throw shooting team usually 68% for the year.
And you had mentioned it earlier, those little nickel dimers add up quickly. Let's see if they do a wrinkle now defensively, that diamond press. Now they're going straight back. Straight up, minimum in St. John style. And up for the 2-3, the lob, and look at the help. Great read. The big guy underneath Grant, and it's not really as attentive to the ball here.
And a foul called against Morris. Dixon went for a lob to Prophet. You think in this situation, Bill, you'd like a higher percentage play.
I'm with you. I'm thinking the same thing. They didn't even bother taking the legs out. They may be a fake and then the curl into the lane. Just not good selection that trip.
Morris called for his 2nd personal, and that's the 10th team foul. So it's 2 shots the rest of the way for St. John's. And it'll be Tyrone Grant at the free throw line. He has 8 points. His 1st free throw attempt of the night is a miss.
And he's around a 60% free throw shooter. He's got all the tape, etc. on his hand. It's tough to get a smooth delivery.
Dixon and Prophet go out for Maryland. Grant missed both. Rebound Baxter. Baxter to Stoke with Morris, Francis, and Miller on the court for the Terrapins.
Now back to the 2-3 zone. Now they can just play comfortable. Don't rush it. Here's the reach in by Bootsy out top. You're back in it at 11. Get a good one. Don't be in a hurry. You mentioned the lob. Just pry a little bit. It's the zone. Curl a guy in the lane. Hide a guy baseline. Dribble to between 2 defenders. Cause them to make some decisions.
3 fouls on Bootsy Thornton. Seven-team foul, so 1-1 now for Steve Francis.
How about the Gonzaga story continues to amaze people. Anybody has picked this tournament, let me meet them, huh? They have to be Sears.
There's 10 points for Francis, now 11. He averages 17 a game. Baxter goes out. They're substituting offense, defense right now with 5:19 remaining.
And Sean, this is one of the few times all game they've been on the ball with Morris. Now they trap. This is what you were looking for. Cause the timeout. That's how they've gotten such a great record, such an incredible run, such a high seed.
The 22nd timeout called by Mike Jarvis. They have just 1 full timeout left. And Maryland has 2 full remaining. Monday on CBS. Here's some March Madness that'll leave you laughing. Catch the show that critics are calling sitcom royalty. Kevin James and Jerry Stiller star in The King of Queens Monday on CBS.
Ron Artest could take umbrage to that title.
He's the King of Queens.
They've got to keep their energy level and understand where to be, where to post, who's going to catch it, who's going to turn and fill the lane. As Maryland now seems to have a better understanding of what they're after. Going through the throat a little bit more. They're fronting the next pass. And Morris with the great wingspan showing on the ball. Tough to see.
Artest trying to throw it in over Morris. He's in trouble. Finally gets it into Jesse.
And look at this counter. They know Jesse can handle. And Mike Jarvis lets him come up against a guy his like size. Tough to defend.
Clock ticking down to 5 minutes left. St. John's had a 26-point lead. It's now 9. Barkley, a three.
Onions! Oh! Right by the Lincoln Tunnel vegetable stand. Unbelievable courage under fire.
Stokes will pull it out. He can't do that for long. Down 12 with 4:40 to go. Dixon lost it on the dribble. Good reach in by Jesse.
Good call, Sean. Very alert.
Barkley back to Jesse. Hammered by Miller. The shot wouldn't drop. But Jesse's going to shoot 2.
Well, they can take a little peck, a little stick, a little something on the chin, St. John's. But they come right back down the floor, get an opportunity for a deuce. Did you ever think at Range Latin, and I know you live up that way, that Mike Jarvis would turn out 1A to be this good a coach and to surface as he has in New York? I mean, he was a tradition in Boston.
Yes, he was. He made his name originally by being Patrick Ewing's high school coach at Cambridge Range Latin. But he demonstrated after Patrick left he was an excellent high school coach, and he got his chance to be a head coach in college at Boston University. And all he did there was become the winningest coach in school history, where they used to have a fellow named Rick Pitino.
And then he was the assistant at Harvard
before
well,
that.
Northeastern before that. But, you know, I first got to know Mike through the mail. I sent the letter inquiring about Patrick Ewing. Would he like to come and play for me in South Orange for Seton Hall? And I got a nice response back. Bill, nice to hear from you. We are not interested. Sort of an indifferent start to a relationship that's warmed up over the years.
Yes, it has. Free throws by Jesse. Make it a 14-point game. Maryland had it down to 9. Couple chances to get closer. Squandered the opportunities. Now they're fading away again. Another air ball fired up from the corner. This one by Terrence Morris.
And even in the zone, Postel got a check out. He's the one that eventually forced the ball to go out of bounds in St. John's favor. Look around the perimeter, Sean. All the 4 guys can handle, and Grant stays underneath. So it's tough to trap him and press.
Barkley missed the shot, following the rebounding action, apparently on Tyrone Grant. It is on Grant, and that's his 4th.
And a good call, too. He warded off with his left hand. Curtis Shaw right on top of it. He didn't think he got caught with all the traffic around him. Barkley with a good move, but did not finish, which hurts them.
Tyrone Grant, the only senior on this St. John's team. That's bad news for the rest of the Big East. The rest of the NCAA in Division I with the St. John's success in this tournament. Francis takes a seat for a moment. Ron Profit at the line. The senior now lives in Delaware. His stepfather's in the Air Force. They moved around a lot when he was a young man. Still a young man, but as a young boy, he lived in several states and in Panama for 3 years when he was 11, 12, 13 years old.
And they got out of Panama. I guess was there a takeover
right
at one point?
Noriega. Problem there with Noriega. He said they knew it was coming and got out of town.
He said he kept asking his mom, are we leaving? Just relax, son. Great career for him.
Young man, maligned by Maryland fans during his career there. Had a terrific senior season. He said the first he saw Steve Francis go over the summer, they played together in the summer league. You asked him, what did you think when you saw Francis play? He said, I thought, whoa, get your tickets to the Final Four. Well, it may not quite be the Final Four, but it's been the most wins in a season for Maryland.
Look at this
first year with Francis. There's a miss by Thornton.
And he said he fit right in. Nobody on the team, the seniors, he guarded well, fit right in with the team. What happened to the passing exhibition there by St. John's? They didn't make the shot. And Barkley running the length of the floor.
Third on Barkley, 9th foul, so still a 1-and-1. And the next foul, Maryland will shoot 2 the rest of the way.
And Maryland hanging around here, Sean. 2 gets it to 10, gives them a little lift, get themselves organized. You got to make the free throws so you can get the coaching back into the game.
Well, the only thing Maryland has done consistently well tonight is shoot free throws, 11 of 11 from the line.
Terrell wants to be a coach. Gary told both of us that Simon Gratz's kid just understood, they were going to move Francis to the point.
Yeah.
And Stokes proved that he could play with them, could contribute and be solid. Found out he liked to coach. I got to talk to him.
2 free throws by the senior from Philadelphia, who might be playing in his last game at Maryland for Gary Williams.
A basketball championship is sponsored by Pontiac Grand Am and by American General.
Back in Knoxville, St. John's perhaps 3 minutes and 22 seconds away from a date with the Elite Eight. We check out the data bank. Most Sweet 16 appearances since 1994. Maryland right there. They've been 4 times in the last 6 years.
Michigan in 94, Connecticut in 95. Handling the pressure consistently has been the trademark of St. John's.
Eric Barkley, wild layup attempt, but then Grant was fouled on the way up on a reach in by Danny Miller. 3 fouls on Miller. Gary Williams has engineered a phenomenal turnaround in Maryland. The program was about as big a mess as it could be when he took it over. But now they're at the point where the folks in the metropolitan D.C. area, Baltimore, they're starting to get a little frustrated with the inability to get past the Sweet 16.
First time they had Keith Booth and Joe Smith were freshmen. There's a look at his terrific coaching career and numbers, Sean. And then 95, they were sophomores. They had a couple of juniors. This was a team that I'm sure he felt could do the damage. And that's not a bad town when you give Grant away. So you could trade 1 for maybe a deuce or a 3.
An 11-point game with 3 minutes to go. Gary Williams, by the way, is the only coach to direct teams in the Big East, ACC, and Big Ten. Morris had it swatted by Artest.
It's on the 2-3, back to a little trip outside. Not one you want. Now they give it to Bootsy. Oh, they give it to Barkley. A little trip. You don't want to stop the clock, even though there was 8 seconds left.
Talk about the inability of these 2 coaches to get past the Sweet 16. Of course, Jarvis hasn't had as many trips to the Sweet 16. But the larger picture, all these years of coaching for these 4 coaches, all of whom are still alive, not a single Final Four appearance among them. And unfortunately, Bill, that's kind of what it's become now. You're judged by what you do in the tournament.
Well, you build the program up, and then the NCAA takes over. If you're really down or struggling, people will live and enjoy it. And this is a case that, you know, Gary has done a marvelous job, and tweak a little here, tweak a little there, and this thing is not over. But as he looks forward, what does he need is his decision to get to that next level and hopefully recruit that kind of a kid. Here's the trap, and you just see Miller a step late on the rotation, even though there was a foul in the trap.
Stokes made 1 out of 2 from the line. The miss was the first free throw missed by Maryland. The 14 out of 15 from the free throw line. Let's check out the CBS Sports Line stat of the game. No question about it. That end of the half run, 20-0. Maryland scoreless over the final 8:26 of the half. Carried into the second half. For complete tournament coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com.
And if Mike Jarvis is invited to a clinic, he must talk on a 2-3 zone. I mean, successfully, he's been a man-to-man guy. But right now, the last 2 games in particular, Indiana and here against Maryland, they've been in good position. They understand. He said he practices it, and we have seen it in tape during the course of the year, but not to this length.
And he made an interesting comment, too, Mike Jarvis. Postel makes the free throw. We did a lot of things during the regular season just to have done it with an eye toward postseason play.
Now, there's a guy that's confident, huh? I was just worried about the next one. And once again, a different look now. The flat 3-2. Good communication.
Francis, too strong off the glass. Postel, the hit ahead. Barkley unselfishly to Bootsy.
Well, in Baltimore, they're dancing. And why not? Bootsy with a solid performance. They do leak out, you can see. And Gary Williams livid. He wanted the timeout. It's right after one of the officials. But the leak out for the easy deuce. And that's something they get out of tape. Everybody crashing, particularly at this juncture in the game where Maryland's anticipating going to the rim. you must protect the backcourt. Bootsy, impressive on the shot or the jam.
2:17 remaining. St. John's has a 14-point lead. It's a tighter game out in Phoenix. Gonzaga leads by 2 with 7:41 to go. And we'll be getting you to the conclusion of that game when they're finished here. Francis in a lane, lost the handle but got it back. Stokes a three they desperately need. Rebound Grant. And they reach in and tie him up. So Maryland will get it back on the defensive tie-up. Lauren and Gonzaga winner advances to meet the winner of the game later tonight at America West Arena between Connecticut and Iowa. Francis to inbound. Morris in a fresh 35 of the shot clock. Dixon doesn't need it. There's a three.
And now get Perkins. And he does have a quick release.
We talk about young men who've overcome adversity. Perhaps of all the people in this game, he's overcome the most. Both have won. Dixon's parents were drug users, and both died of AIDS. Terribly tragic story. Both died while he was a teenager. He lost his mom, Juanita, when he was 15. His dad, Phil, when he was 17. He wears a tattoo with both their names on his left arm. He says his mom was a wonderful person. She just got caught up with the wrong people. That can happen.
And what's great is how he could change his life and get involved in an academic arena and use basketball as a tool to be successful. And as I noted, what a quick stroke. He's going to be a nice offensive player for Gary.
Big night for Barkley. Now 7 of 9 with the miss from the line. He has 20 points and 9 assists. And the lead is 12 with 1:45 remaining.
And a little different look every once in a while. Mike Jarvis, a little trap that time. Diamond press.
Francis couldn't get the three. Artest the rebound. Dixon pestering Barkley. What a spin move.
He is tantalizing. And this Artest is a Rembrandt. And he does everything, whether they need it ball handling or selectively post up. And just terrific passing skills. As Mike mentioned, the point guard mentality of the forward as well as Barkley. Tough to beat.
Artest and Barkley having a good time here in Knoxville. They're both childhood friends of the great Shamiqua Holdsclaw, one of the great women's basketball players of all time, the All-American here for the 3-time defending national champion Tennessee Lady Vols. And Artest and Barkley hooked up with Shamiqua for dinner a couple of nights ago. She's still in action in the NCAA tournament.
What a great atmosphere here in this building. And they get some outstanding crowds for their women's, as well as Jerry Green did a great job with the men's program this year.
Disappointing early departure for the Tennessee men. They got in as the 4 seed. St. John's on its way to victory, leading by 13 with 1:10 left. Morris lost it to Grant.
And look at the pressure, and really not a double other than the one time earlier.
So St. John's with a lead, a safe lead as they prepare to advance. Let's take you now to America West Arena in Phoenix. Regional semifinals in the West. Gonzaga and Florida are tight. Gus Johnson and Dan Bonner are there.
4:20 to go in the second half. We're tied at 64. Gonzaga, they're a 10 seed, and Florida a number 6. From deep again. There's that man again. In a row. He had 3 at halftime. Now he's got 17. And they have to recognize the shooter.
Stolt battling Santangelo for position inside.
Miller, mismatch to the basket. Loose ball. And Eaton with the rebound.
And that's a big rebound by Eaton. Haven't heard much from him this evening.
Santangelo. Here's Hall, 18 to shoot. Crom is on the backside.
Better find him if you're Florida.
He pops out wide open. He doesn't miss by much.
No, he doesn't. Everybody in this crowd expecting that one to go in. The Florida faithful holding their breath.
Haslam leads in, and he's fouled. And the bracket here in the West. Florida, Gonzaga. Coming up next, Connecticut and Iowa, a 1 versus a 5. There he is, Richie Fromm. 3 points at halftime. Now he has 17. Eaton fought for his 4th foul. And Haslam at the line. He's a 59% free throw shooter. First one is good.
Eaton with 4 fouls. Dinch, the backup center, with 4 fouls. Calvary, who just comes in the game, with 3 fouls. Haslam has 4 fouls.
2-point lead for Gonzaga. And the freshman from Miami taking his time. And he missed the second. Calvary with the rebound.
Calvary way upstairs for that rebound.
3 minutes to go.
And Florida back to the man-to-man.
Last touch by Parker. 2 minutes, 56 seconds remaining in the second half. We've got a 2-point game. Let's reset it for you. Under 3 to go. Gonzaga 10 team fouls and Florida 9. And Richie Fromm is really starting to take over.
He has been the story. Florida in that zone defense really creating some problems for Gonzaga. But Fromm suddenly with his 3-point basket, 5 3-point baskets, 5 for 8 in the game. Some big ones here in the second half. And now Florida back to the man-to-man defense.
Santangelo and Quinton Hall in the backcourt for the Bulldogs, along with Fromm, and he throws it away. Santangelo cut to the basket. Fromm thought he was ready to receive it again. And the Bulldogs turn it over for the 16th time. St. John's heading into the Elite 8. They beat Maryland this evening. Here's Shannon. Inside Haslam and a layup for Florida. 2:27 to go. We're tied at 67.
And Florida once again able to get the ball inside.
Hall to the basket and a foul from behind on Eddie Shannon. Hall's done a great job handling this pressure in the second half of play. And the bracket in the West. Florida, Gonzaga, and Connecticut, Iowa coming up next. So Quinton Hall at the free throw line.
Only 1 of 4 tonight.
He's shooting 2. And the first drop score. Now let's check out the CBS Sports Line stat of the game. It's 3-point shooting. Gonzaga 12 of 22, Florida 5 of 22. Second one no good for Hall. Bulldogs up by 1. Approaching the 2-minute mark of the second half.
Man-to-man defense for Gonzaga. Florida has been very anxious to get the ball inside. Eaton has 4 fouls in there. Haslam really working against him.
Wright got it back. Blocked from behind by Eaton. Ball squirts out. Fromm on the deck. And jump ball to go.
And that will be a possession arrow jump ball. Simultaneous possession. And so Florida will keep it. Inside, Florida once again gets the ball inside. Eaton with those 4 personal fouls. A nice job coming over the back to block the shot. But everybody hustling after the ball, and so Florida's going to keep it on the alternating possessions.
The Gators, they've trailed by as many as 13 points. Struggled from the perimeter the first half and part of the second half, but have really come on strong lately. Inside, Miller with the velvet touch.
What a sweet move, going to his left, coming back and shooting the ball with his right hand.
He's got 10. 69-68 Gators.
Florida really turning up the intensity in the man-to-man defense.
Fromm popping out on the wing, guarded by the freshman, Miller. Here's Quinton Hall. Hall will step back and shoot it. Santangelo, 9 to shoot. Guarded by Weeks. Santangelo inside, and a foul.
And that foul is going to be against Haslam, and Haslam is out of the game. Santangelo, a guy who can create things for himself with the clock running down.
So Haslam, the freshman from Miami, leads with 6 points and 5 rebounds.
Billy Donovan calling his crew over. He's got 30 seconds to make the substitution. And he's going to take all 30 while he makes Santangelo wait at the free throw line. Dan Munson now going to call his kids over as well.
So Billy Donovan, he's seen this kind of pressure before. Back in 1987 at Providence, he led the Friars to a 25-9 record. They beat UAB, Austin Peay, Alabama, and Georgetown to get into the Final Four before finally losing to Syracuse. Played for Rick Pitino.
And now Billy Donovan, and everybody's back out on the court. Now he's going to call timeout. Really going to make Santangelo wait before he gets to shoot these, and he wants a full timeout.
1:12 to go in the second half of play. Florida up by 1. Game reset, both teams in the double bonus. Gonzaga with 2 fulls and Florida with 1 full. Gus Johnson along with Dan Bonner. With 1:12 remaining, what should we pay attention to down the stretch?
I think what we need to pay attention to, Gus, most of all is Florida's defense. They have turned up the pressure in the man-to-man defense. They have done a great job forcing turnovers and staying in this game. Now they lead, even though they've shot poorly from the three-point line.
And Santangelo short on the first. He's a 78% free throw shooter. Tight on that release. Second one is good. And with 1:12 to go in the second half, we are tied at 69.
Gonzaga only 11 for 18 from the free throw line.
Miller got the screen. A minute to go in regulation. Here's Miller, 16 on the shot clock. Pass Eddie Shannon. Stole for 3. Got it! Bullseye! For the senior from Huntsville, Alabama. Timeout Bulldogs.
That high screen has been what Florida's tried to do all day. They converted on a very important occasion, lead by 3. Florida leads it by 3. Stolt is going to set a screen right here. And as the ball comes past, both defenders go to the ball. Stolt is going to step out and get the three-point basket. Both defenders go to the ball. Stolt, the all-time leading Florida three-point shooter, is all alone, and he cashes in.
He credits his high school coach, Ronnie Stapler, at Grissom High in Huntsville for really stressing shooting the basketball. And a 20-second timeout called by the Gators.
We've got a number 10 seed here, Gonzaga, trying to get to the Final Four. These are the Final Four Cinderellas. And as you'll notice, the lowest seed, LSU, and they lost in the Final Four. Providence in 1987. Let's think about that for a moment, Gus. They got to the Final Four, and their star player was none other than the Florida coach, Billy Donovan.
Billy the Kid. 42.5 to go in the second half. Florida up 72-69. From inbound. To Hall.
Gonzaga does not need a three-point basket, but they need to score quickly.
Santangelo. From around the screen.
That's good defense.
And he calls timeout. And it's a 20 called by the Bulldogs.
That's part of the problem. They did not get that shot off very quickly, so now when Florida gets the ball back, they do not have to shoot it. There's only 27.9 seconds remaining in the game.
So let's reset it one more time for you.
Gonzaga has the basketball, each team with the 10 fouls, so Florida doesn't want to foul. They'll put Gonzaga on the line. Gonzaga needs something, and they need it very quickly. If they get a 2, they're going to have to get the 2 and get the quick foul.
Ball from down low, up and in. That's Jeremy Eaton. 1-point game. Wright lost it.
That's the guy.
And he traveled. He traveled. Yes, he did. With 15.4 to go.
It's been the Florida defensive pressure that's been a huge factor in the game. But the little guy, Quinton Hall, goes running, and right, he drags that pivot foot.
Cinderella still alive here in Phoenix. 4 to go, no fouls to give for either team. Gonzaga with the ball, but no timeouts.
Gus, that means they're going to have to get it inbounds, obviously.
So what do? Play for one shot?
They're down 1, and what they have to do is take the first good shot that they get. If you're down 1, you don't want to hold for 1, because if you miss, you want to give yourself enough time to get a rebound or to foul and get the ball back.
Watch Santangelo on the inbounds play. They reverse it. Fromm knocked away. Weeks got a hand on it.
And that was not a very good pass by Fromm. Gonzaga very fortunate to keep the ball. Florida goes back into the zone.
Shot clock turned off. Calvary. Hall. 8 to shoot. Hall. The runner. Loose ball. It's good. With 4.4 to go. Shannon.
Don't want to foul.
Shannon from the corner. And it's over. Gonzaga. The slipper still fits. They win it. 73-72. Holy cow.
We said they wanted to get a rebound. Watch Calvary just comes tearing down the lane. Nobody blocks him out. What a tremendous play by Calvary.
And the reaction from Coach Munson.
Watching Florida dribble the ball up the court. He knows that they can't foul. And that's the other reaction.
So the final score. Gonzaga 73, Florida 72. A 10 has beaten a 6, and they continue to advance. They'll take on the winner of the Connecticut-Iowa game and the Chevrolet. Most valuable players of the game, Richie Fromm. Fromm with 3 points at halftime. He finished with 17. He had 5 threes. So coming up, we'll go back to New York after this message and a word from your local station.
Apoplectic at the end of that game as Gonzaga beats Florida. What a great basketball game down the stretch.
And we thought it would be competitive action from the start. 8 lead changes in that second half, and Gonzaga has shown they can win a number of different ways. Big rebound baskets there, obviously.
All right, so Gonzaga has beaten Florida 73-72. Also this evening, St. John's eliminates Maryland 76-62. Now here's what's still to come this evening. Ohio State, the 4th seed in the South, against top seed Auburn. That game will tip at 10:10 Eastern time. All of you will go to that game, and then those of you ticketed to see 5th seed Iowa take on top seed Connecticut in the West. That game tips at 10:27, and we will get you to that game in time for the opening tip-off. We'll take a timeout and then send everyone to Knoxville for Ohio State and Auburn after this word from your local station.